Jesus, Jay leads a lonely life. Man depended on my show every night of his life. Now he's walking around the streets looking up. Where? Where's Larry? I'm here. It's great to be back. I can't express what it's like to be standing here. It takes me back to when I was a little boy in Brooklyn. I used to stand on the corner with my friends and dream that I would be in the mineral business. That I would someday look up and say, do you know how much iron ore we took in last year? Then I met Stan Barty. You meet Stan Barty and your life changes. He changed my life. He decides my life. He said it's okay to stay married. Anyway, speaking of marriage, my wife is here tonight, and she's a part of me. Stand up, Sean. I married way over my head, in height and other ways. But there's an obvious age difference. You can see that. You know, there's obviously.
You're younger.
No, it's obvious. You look at both of us. I know what you're thinking. But I always say the same thing. If she dies, she dies. You know, life goes on. You do your best. We have 2 little children at home. Done without, by the way, Viagra. One's 12, one's 11. They'll be 13 and 12 if I let them. So I'm so happy to be here, to be part of this organization. When Stan invited me to be on his board of advisors, it was a particular thrill because I really enjoy that end of it. I like being around the people, like the people here tonight. I enjoyed last year's conference a great deal. I like going around with my wife and meeting people and introducing him to people and making it possible for this company to grow even more. So I acknowledge this. I'm very happy to be here. And again, who knew that a little Jewish boy will be standing in a Mexican monastery? Where the hell are we? What is this? What are we in? It took 100 yards to walk into here. What is this? I hope it keeps standing. And they got heaters here, thank God. But it is me, as you can see. That didn't leave. Jay, that's still here. All right. I forgot what I said last year. So if I repeat anything, I'm sorry. But last year, I think I told stories from childhood, right? Well, today I'll tell some stories from adulthood. Things that have happened to me. I remember when I began speaking. You know, I do a lot of speaking. I've spoken in many countries, and I do a comedy tour, and I like speaking in front of audiences. It's a great thrill to stand up in front of people and have them listen and hopefully laugh a little and have an enjoyable time. But it wasn't always that way. The first time I ever spoke, I was like 24 years old. I was starting to make a name for myself in Miami, where I began. And the Rotary Club called me. Is anybody here in Rotary? Does anyone know what Rotary is? You know, no. Rotary is an international organization. It's all over the world. And what Rotarians do, basically, is the same thing, no matter what city they're in. They have lunch, they sell each other insurance, they sing Rotary songs, and they go home. This is universal, whether it's New Delhi or New York. And they used to be just men, and then they now take women in. And I've spoken to Rotary clubs around the world, and they made me an honorary member of the International Rotary. But the first time I spoke was for a Rotary club in Miami. And I never forgot that, because I now do speaking everywhere, as I said, but I was scared to death. But I accepted this. This guy calls me up, and he says, Mr. King, I am chairman of the Miami Shores Rotary Club. We are the oldest Rotary Club in America. Ponce de Leon was our first member. And we go back to pre-days in Florida. And we would like to have you speak at our annual dinner. This is a dinner that we hold once a year. We have meetings every week, but this is an annual dinner. We invite women. This is a big dinner. Will you speak? And I said, okay, I'll speak. And he gives me the date, and I'm about to hang up, and he says, by the way, what is your topic? So I said, well, I don't really have a topic. I just speak extemporaneously. He says, that won't do. You have to have a topic. I said, but I don't have a topic. He says, this is Rotary. You must have a topic. He said, if we invite President Eisenhower, we demand a topic. I said, call him. So I hung up, he hung up. I forgot about it. Next night, I'm about to go on the air. It's like 2 minutes to airtime on my radio show. I get a call from the chairman of the Rotary Club. He's at the print shop. They're printing up the flyer for my meeting. I hear in the background, chicka, 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 chicka. He says, we're printing up the flyer. What is your topic? All right, I got to go on the air. The meeting is 6 months away. So I gave him a topic. I don't know why I gave him this topic. I had no interest in this topic. But I said to him, my topic is the future of the American Merchant Marine, which I knew nothing about. And he says, thank you. He hangs up. I write down where I'm supposed to appear, and I continue on. 6 months later, it's the night of my appearance. All I have written down is Miami Shores Country Club. I don't have Rotary written. I don't have anything about speech. I just know where I gotta go. So I drive, and I get there, and there's a sign, parking lot full. Whoa. So I park 2 blocks away. I'm just a kid, and I'm speaking, and the parking lot is full. I packed him in. I get to the front of the building, and there's a sign. Tonight, the future of the American Merchant Marine. I said to myself, holy Moses, they got 2 speakers. I got the wrong night. Something's the matter. So I go in, and the speakers chairman comes running up to greet me, the guy who called me, and he is beside himself with excitement, which tells you a lot about Rotary. This topic, the future of the American Merchant Marine, broke their all-time attendance record. They came on wheelchairs from Fort Lauderdale to hear this. He says, we are so excited. We can't wait to hear about the future of the American Merchant Marine. And I thought to myself, you can't wait. He takes me in. The place is packed, mobbed with people. I'm sitting on a dais. They're all excited. They're a very conservative group. I'm nothing against conservatives, but this group had a big picture on the wall of Barry Goldwater, and on top it said Pinko. I mean, this group was really not sure, right? So I'm sitting there. Now the speakers chairman, the guy who booked me, gets up to introduce me. Tells him he took the day off work to research the history of the American Merchant Marine. And since our guest speaker, me, is going to speak about the future, he's going to give him the past. So he proceeds to tell him about harbor sizes like the comparison of the harbor in New London, Connecticut, to the harbor in Hong Kong. The audience is orgasmic, right? I'm falling asleep, and he's doing stats on tonnage, the tonnage arrival between this harbor and that harbor, the American Merchant Marine. He says, and now, to discuss the future of the American Merchant Marine, here is Larry King. Now that's panic, right? I mean, come on. I don't know anything. I gotta get up. I gotta say something. So I decide, if you're gonna speak on a topic you know nothing about, don't mention the topic. I just left it out. I talked about politics, sports, baseball, anything I could think of. No applause, no nothing. I jumped off the stage and ran out of the building. I couldn't think of anything else. I just ran. I passed one guy turning up his hearing aid. Did he mention the Merchant Marine? I get to my car. I start the car up. It's a June night in Miami, very hot and humid. The air conditioning's blowing in my face. I'm sweating. And I said to myself, I'm never going to speak again. I don't need this. I got radio. I'm going to have television. I'm going to have newspapers. I don't have to do this. And suddenly, there's a banging on the window of the car. The speakers chairman, the guy who booked me, has followed me to my car. And he is ticked. No, he's beyond ticked. He's in a new world of tickdom. He is banging, his froth is coming out of the side of his mouth. I hit the button, the window goes down. He's so mad, he sticks his head in the window. Now he's got his head in the window, and I have my hand on the button that closes the window, right? So if you're a little kid from Brooklyn, you never know power, right? And I have power. So he backs off, and he's screaming in the middle of the night. You never mentioned the Merchant Marine. You never mentioned it. We got the largest membership attendance in our history. I took the day off work. I went to the library to research the American Merchant Marine, and you never mentioned the future of the American Merchant Marine. I said they have no future and drove away. Which was one way not to be invited back. I also spoke once for the mafia. I don't know if I told this last year. Did I tell this last year? No. You're going to like this, Jay. This will go another poem about this. The mafia, for those of you not from the Western world, is an organization basically of criminals. And what the mafia does is they do crime. And like most people, I used to think that all the mafia did was crime. You know, I used to think they got up in the morning, breakfast, crime, lunch, crime, then a couple of crimes, go to sleep, a couple of crimes on Saturday, Sunday off, right? That was crime. But I found out that they got involved in other things, including charities. And I get a call one day. I worked at Channel 4 in Miami. I still remember the name of the producer that came in to tell me, Tavoy was his name. And he said, Larry, there's a guy on the phone named Boom Boom Giorno. Boom Boom Giorno wants to talk to you. I don't know any Boom Boom Giorno. I pick up the phone. I said hello. That's the last word I said. I just said hello. He said, King, Boom Boom Giorno, write this down. 8 o'clock, November 18th, War Memorial Auditorium, Fort Lauderdale. Boys Town of Italy. Sergio Franchi is the singer. You are the MC. Black tie, 8 o'clock, hung up. I went. Something told me it would be in my best interest to go to this event. So I drive up to Fort Lauderdale, and there's I still can see it, Boys Town of Italy, Sergio Franchi, singer, Larry King, MC. I go in, standing by the dressing room is this guy in a double-breasted suit, cigarette dangling. He says, I'm Boom Boom Giorno. We're glad you came. I said, you're glad I came. He takes me backstage. It was unbelievable. There's Sergio Franchi, great singer, with a 15-piece orchestra, with a 50-piece Catholic high school marching band, with a cardinal from Italy who ran Boys Town. It was unbelievable. I go over to Sergio Franchi. I said, how'd they get you for this? He says, a guy named Boom Boom Giorno called. I'm here, right? Boom Boom goes over and gives me my instructions. He says, listen, go on stage. You could do a couple of laughs, tell a couple jokes, bring on Sergio, and Sergio will sing for like 45 minutes, and then we all go back on stage, and we give the Cardinal a check for Boys Town of Italy, okay? He says, by the way, don't have the house lights turned up. I says, why not? He says, well, there's guys in the jukebox business, guys in the olive oil business. There's a whole section of FBI agents. Don't turn up the lights. This was the mafia. So I'm a little scared. I go on stage. They were a wonderful audience. Crime is a great audience. If you get them in the right mood, so I really felt good. I bring on Sergio. He sang for 45 minutes. He was unbelievable. Back we go on stage, and they give the Cardinal a check for $450,000. That's what they raised this one night for Boys Town of Italy. The evening is over, and Boom Boom is walking me to my car. And Boom Boom is very pleased. And he says to me, we are very pleased. And I says, thank you, Boom Boom. He says, I spoke to the guys, and listen, we owe you a favor. I said, thanks, Boom Boom, but I don't need any favors. He says, we don't like to owe favors. So I'm thinking to myself, now wait a minute. I got a marker on the mafia. They owe me a favor, and they don't like to owe favors. So I said, what do you got in mind? Right, natural question. He said 5 words. No one in this audience has ever heard these 5 words. I will never hear them again. Even Stan Barty will never hear these 5 words. I remember right where I was standing. I remember where the moon was. I remember the sweat going down my face. It was like 10 after 11 on that night when Boom Boom Giorno of the Mafia said to me, Got anybody you don't like? My spine froze. And I got to tell you the truth. If that's ever said to you, the first thing you think of is names. I saved the life of the general manager of Channel 4. I said, I can't do it, Boom Boom. I can't hurt anyone. He said, how about just a couple broken legs? No, Boom Boom, I can't do it. He says, you like horse racing? I said, yeah. He said, okay, we'll be in touch. So I get a call like a week later. I don't know who called. Boom Boom, somebody. It just said apple tree in the third race today at Hialeah. So I had about $800 to my name. I borrow $500. I run out to Hialeah. I bet $1,300 to win on apple tree in the third. As the horses are going in the gate, I say to myself, there are three sure things in life: death, taxes, and apple tree's going to win the third. The mafia has a way of doing it. I especially knew it during the running of the race when 5 jockeys jumped off their horses. The mafia has a way of getting things done. Another time I spoke, this really embedded in my memory. I was just really starting out in Miami, and a friend of mine was the district attorney of Miami, Dick Gerstein, the late Dick Gerstein. And he called me up one day and he said, listen, I got a real problem, you got to help me. Saturday night, there are 2 conventions going on in Miami at the same time: the National District Attorneys and the International Chiefs of Police, both here at the same time. And it was a coincidence. They just happened at both conventions. So Saturday night, they're both at the Fontainebleau Hotel, and the ballroom is empty. So they decide they're going to have a dinner Saturday night, and they asked me, as district attorney, to chair the dinner. So we had an afternoon scheduled, the session. We canceled it so everybody can go to the dinner, chiefs of police, district attorneys. Frank Silverman was scheduled to speak in the afternoon, chairman of the Florida Crime Commission. Chairman of the Florida. And he says to me, listen, here's my problem. Frank Silverman is the world's most boring speaker. There is no one more boring than Frank Silverman. And he's going to put him to sleep. So he says, you got to do me a favor. Follow him. Go up after him and talk to the crowd. I said, but nobody knows me. He said, I'll give you a big introduction. Big introduction. I was just a Miami boy. So I'm on the dais. The audience was packed. District attorneys, chiefs of police. Some of the chiefs of police were in uniform. Frank Silverman gets up to speak. You have never heard a more boring speaker than the chairman of the Florida Crime Commission. He's thought we have crime will grow. Statistics tell us that we increase the police force. First person to go to sleep was Mrs. Silverman. She went right into the baked Alaska. Gone, right? And when he says thank you, the whole crowd is getting up to run to the elevators. They can't wait to get out. The Florida district attorney, he didn't know what to do, so he runs up to the microphone, and here's my big introduction. He says, ladies and gentlemen, before we leave, my friend Larry King. Now, I got an audience which nobody knows me. I'm following the world's most boring speaker who just spoke about crime. I got half the audience standing up ready to leave, and this was all instinct. I can remember it like yesterday. I ran to the microphone, and I said, ladies and gentlemen, hold it. Stop. Don't move. We have just heard Frank Silverman speak against crime. I'm in broadcasting. Yes, broadcasting. And in broadcasting, we have an equal time code. We have a fairness doctrine. I am here to speak on behalf of crime. You could have heard a pin drop, man. I had him, everybody sat down. Now I had to think of something to say. Right? So I said, anybody here in the audience, raise your hand, who would like to live in Butte, Montana? Nobody raised their hand. I said, see, nobody wants to live in Butte, Montana, the lowest crime rate city in the Western world. Last year, there were no reported crimes. And there is no locksmith in Butte, Montana. Nobody wants to go there. Nobody. Everybody wants to go to New York, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Chicago, and Miami. Top 5 tourist cities in America. The top 5 crime cities in America: New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and Miami. Crime is a major tourist attraction. You put crime in your city, you double the airport. People flock to where crime goes. And another thing that Silverman didn't mention, crime takes care of itself. The money stays local. The taxes don't go to the government. They take care of their own. The local people go to the local beauty parlors and local restaurants. They tend to handle their criminals in their own way. They don't bother the police. They take care of their own criminals. And another thing that he didn't mention, if you wipe out crime in America, if you listen to everything he said, everybody in this room will be out of work. And the police chief of Louisville, Kentucky jumped up and said, what can we do to help? I thought since I spoke last year and I'm here this year, that what I might do tonight a little differently is take some questions. And then I have a couple jokes I just heard, which I checked with my producer, Greg, and he said it's okay. My wife didn't even hear these jokes. You want to hear one of the jokes? Want to hear one of the jokes? Okay, this is a funny joke. I can't do it with the Frenchman. My brother told me this joke like a Frenchman. I can't. All right, this couple check in. I'm thinking of it already. This couple check into a hotel, and it's like a little late at night, and there's one guy behind the counter, a little cold clerk, and he says yes, and he checks him in, and they go upstairs, and they're getting ready to go to bed, and the husband says, I'm going to go down to the bar, get a drink, and she says, I'm going to go to bed. So she gets into bed, gets under the covers, and she falls asleep, and a train goes right by the hotel, rattles the bed and wakes her up. She thinks nothing of it, tries to get back to sleep. An hour later, the train goes by, wakes her up again. For the third time the train wakes her up, she goes downstairs, up to the innkeeper behind the desk, and she says, there's a train going by my room, and it wakes me up. And the guy says, I never heard that. No, I want to prove it to you. Come up to the room. He says, but I got to come up to the room. So the innkeeper goes up to the room, and she says, get in bed. He lies in the bed, get under the covers. He's lying there under the covers, and suddenly the husband comes back in the room. And the husband says, what the hell is going on? And the guy in the bed says, I'm just waiting for a train. I think it's funny. Oh, what was the other one he told me? You think that's funny, Sean? What did you say? Just shaky? I'm just waiting for a train? He told her like a Frenchman. Anyway, I thought it was funny. What? Pierre, you remember that joke. Just waiting for a train. Okay. The other joke was what? Oh, these grandparents, these grandkids and children of this old man decide they want to give him a birthday gift, Grandpa. So they hire a hooker to come to his room. And the hooker knocks on the door, and the old man walks toward the door, and he opens up the door, and she says, gorgeous girl, she says, I am here to give you super sex. Super sex. And he says, what kind of soup? I thought that was funny. Anyway, you could tell that one too, Peter. Well, anybody have any questions on anything? On anything? Anyone just sing it out? Nobody? Pierre. One interview I would never do again. Okay. Phyllis Gates. See, no. Phyllis Gates was married to Rock Hudson. He was married early in his career, and of course later died of AIDS, and turned out he was gay. And Phyllis Gates didn't do interviews, but we book her. Remember this, Greg? Phyllis Gates. The whole network is excited. Rock Hudson's wife speaks out tonight on Larry King Live, and they promote it all day. Phyllis Gates, yes, she was married to Rock Hudson. Rock Hudson just died of AIDS. She's on Larry King Live tonight, exclusive. She comes in, sits down. Miss Gates, thank you very much for doing this. I know this must be hard for you. It's okay. How'd you meet Rock? I worked for his agent, and we started a date and got married. How long were you married? 2 years. Have any children? No. Was he a good husband? Yeah, he was nice. What'd you do? We went to the movies. And we talked and had dinner. And just didn't work out. We got divorced. Yeah, no, he was gay? No. Didn't know. Have you spoken to him? No. Haven't spoken to him in 25 years. How'd you feel when he had AIDS? Yeah, felt bad. Did you call him? No, I didn't call him. Now look at the clock. It's in LA time, 3 minutes after 6. I have run out of questions for Phyllis Gates, and this woman was married to Rock Hudson and had nothing to say, and I had an hour to fill. And Greg is in my ear, and Greg is saying, well, ask her about movies. What movies did you see with Rock? That killed me. And the other one was Robert Mitchum, who's a great actor, and who I loved as an actor, and we did him in New York, and he one-worded me to death. Nope, yep, nope, yep, nope, yep, nope. Anything I ask. You know, they say if you ask a question that begins with why, you can't answer in one word, except Robert Mitchum. If you think of it, if you ask a question that begins with why, it can't be answered in one word. Except Mitchum, when I asked him a question that began with why, his answer was because. He wouldn't, I wouldn't go anywhere. I asked him, what was it like to be directed by John Huston, the great John Huston? He says, scene one, seen them all. And he'd leave me hanging like that. It was unbelievable. So Phyllis Gates and Robert Mitchum. So that's not bad for 54 years to have two that stick out like that.